First day at the farm, good to be back to the farm. Out there, it's great, just a different mindset for the guys. I think especially young players, maybe a little bit of like, wow, this is a shock. But for the older guys that have been, it's that we're in training camp mindset. And I think by having that place, by going there to practice there and separate training camp, it gives them a different feel for where we're at and what part of the season it is.
Does it kind of block things out when you go over there for some of the younger guys and the veterans as well?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just changes it up. I think you can get monotonous after a while, and I think the farm's training camp, and so when you get out there, we're not there that long. You're out there for anywhere a week to 10 days. I think the 10 is probably the most we've ever been out there. 6 is probably the least. But when you're there, you're in a training camp mentality, and I think I don't know if it's blocking out. You just know it's different, and and so I think that helps the guys just as they get through training camp.
Is it a shock to the system for some of those younger guys when they go out there for the first time?
Well, I think it's a shock to their system, no matter where we are right now. It's been over 100 degrees, I think, every practice with the heat index. So, our practice, we practice at a pretty high tempo. So, I think the younger guys are kind of shell-shocked right now, just in existence.
Coach, you lost, obviously Chris went to pro early and then Ryan Brown graduated, but kind of overlooked the number of upperclassmen and seniors you got back on the defensive line. Talk about how those guys are kind of leading that group.
Well, they do a good job. There's guys that, the one thing I think gets lost is everyone wants to look at just starters. Well, I mean, to me, I'd like to play 22 guys, equal reps on defense. So there's guys, whether it be Nelson Adams, John Calvin, A.J. Jefferson, Will Coleman, that have Nick James. These guys have played a lot of football, probably missing even a couple more, that have played in a bunch of games for us. So, now for us to continue that rotation, we're going to need some new names and some other guys to step up. But we'd like to make sure we can constantly rotate defensive players. And so we do have some veteran upperclassmen. And you see those guys, they've been around, and they know how to lead, they know how to set the bar high, and they know what the standards and expectations of the program are. So they can make sure the young guys understand where they need to get to.
We've talked a lot about getting 4 quarterbacks enough reps, but how do you get 6 running backs enough reps in a practice?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hot out, so they're all right rotating right there. So they, we go 1s, 2s, and 3s. So they each split the reps with different groups right now, and but there's plenty of reps to be had at practice. There's plenty of reps to be had at practice. We when you're going up tempo, the great thing is you can get some extra reps in there, guys, get a little bit more work in, and I think when it's this hot out too, guys don't notice if they miss. They think they're getting enough.
It's still way too early to have any separation at all in that quarterback race.
Yeah, because we're in installation, so it's and everybody's you could take a rack where you're out there where you're with a true freshman offensive line receivers, and the 3 of your 6 plays, guys went the wrong way. So it's, you evaluate that for what it's worth. But, to me, that won't be, we got to get through installation and start, once it's all in, who performs well.
I know it's kind of looking down the road, but is it possible to even try to implement a game plan with 4 quarterbacks? Would you like to have that narrowed down a little bit more? Yeah, for a game.
I'm sure anything's possible. I'm never against thinking outside the box. I've never been that way, but I don't. I would love to have it narrowed down. I'd love to have it, sorted. I'd love to have it sorted by game week. I'd rather kind of. It doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but I'd rather go into game week saying, "Hey, this guy's going to be the starter," and go from there.
I know you guys teach stud and not tackling to the ground during the scrimmage part, but did things change at all today going full pads?
Yeah, well, we do. We don't, not in 11-on-11 situations. We'll teach tackling,
right? And
we'll teach tackling to the ground in a controlled one-on-one situations. But no, we don't. 11-on-11, practice. We won't go to the ground until next Thursday.
But was there more popping out there today?
No, because I maybe more popping today than yesterday. I didn't think we practiced real well yesterday. So I think they let the heat get to them. Today, I think that the focus was much better. So that was, I don't know, I don't think it had anything to do with full pad, whether you're in full pads or not in full pads. I thought it just had to do with the leadership, the intensity of the team being more focused out there on the field today.
Is that something that comes from you as a coach to let them avoid the heat, or is it something you said leadership and players?
Well, I think anything. I mean, you're going to face all different types of adversities. Hot practice, I'd rather find a way to overcome adversity in practice than have to and be prepared to face it in a game than try to figure it out on game day. And there's all different types of adversity. And, it's fantastic. I mean, it probably doesn't feel good to be out there. I mean, I'm hot. I was hot. I mean, you come off. I mean, I'm soaked head to toe coming off the field. And those guys are in full pads. But it is kind of when you're hot, you're tired, you're exhausted, can you still be mentally focused to get your job done? And that's something that's really important. And I thought yesterday I don't think we did a good job. We talked about it, we emphasized it, and it becomes much better from the leaders because they're the ones setting the tempo. If they let any sort of adversity get to them, well, the young guys are just going to, that's who they're following, so they're just going to go right down that path. So it's the standard that those guys set.
We still call it two-a-days, but realistically, you only have 2 of those now. Does NCAA now, with the reductions of practice, force y'all to be much more efficient in how you practice?
I don't know. I think I think everybody's trying to be smarter. I think one of the things, as coaches, we always try to be very, very efficient, and have a reason. I think the NCAA is catching up to the coaches right now. And then looking at that, trying to look at the health reasons and implement rules based on health reasons that coaches kind of already believe. I think you look at things and hey, I'd love to give the guys some more time off during training camp. I can't. Just in how the calendar works, they give us so many the things we have to get done, and they give us a small opportunity to get the NCAA does to get it done. Heck of a deal if we could expand it out a little bit. For health reasons, because I think people look at it. There's nobody that has the team safety in mind more than myself and our coaching staff. So I want our guys. We treat these players like our sons. We want them to be safe out there on the field, and for them, I also though have to have a team that's healthy, ready to go and play a long season. So I think those things combined. The coaches are on it, and I think a lot of the medical studies and other things that come out, NCAA's doing. Coaches are always trying to be ahead of that anyway, of what's best for their team.
Talking to Weston Graves in the spring, he seemed really confident. Said he was confident. What kind of progression have you seen from him, and just what has he done kind of differently since last year?
Well, I think he is. He's a much more confident player, and I think confident in his role on the team. You see it in. I think that makes it easier for him to perform at a high level. I'd say this time last year, sometimes you'd think he's kind of a nervous Nelly a little bit at times out there. But was he $150? You know what I mean? 5'8", $150 out there or something around all these other guys. So, but I think you see how he carries himself, and I think he knows. In how he carries himself, he has confidence in himself, and he knows the team has confidence in him, and I think that just carries on to who he is at practice.
Do you have any talks with him about that confidence, or how did that?
No, I think he just understands it. The talks came last year. We had confidence in him last year. He had to get it within himself, and I think just being out there on the field and having to perform. In games, I think a much different mindset when you've done it on the big stage. That now you understand what that big stage is about. Now I'm going to make sure I'm prepared the right way for it.
How does Reginald Todd and Jamal Couch's size lend to maybe more opportunities this year, just because size is...
And Osiris, those three of those guys, they got some size to them. Because we lost a bunch of guys with size.
Right.
So there's opportunity for them. But like with any freshman, to me, it's how fast they can learn and adjust. Because size or not, if they don't know the plays and they don't have the technique, they're not going to be there. So they're right now trying to figure out how to practice, how to survive a college practice, and on top of learning a whole new installation. So I think there is opportunity to play. I don't know who it'll be. Whoever picks it up the fastest will probably have the best. Will be the one that gets the opportunity to play this year.